All right, guys, back to work tonight. Hope you guys had a fantastic day. Hope you guys made some money out there. But it's time to get back to work. It's Thursday night. We got Friday right around the corner. Not just any Friday, non-farm Friday coming tomorrow. We get a bunch of ranges on the charts tonight. We get some big news coming tomorrow. Lots of great trades on my radar for tomorrow. As always, I'm going to cover all my favorite trades in tonight's video to make sure you have a game plan to make some money tomorrow. Before we jump in and talk about all my favorite setups, make sure you subscribe to our channel. That way you don't miss tomorrow night's video upload. And if you guys enjoy the video, do me a favor, will you hit that like button? Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting this YouTube channel. But enough for the intro, right? Let's get ready for Friday. Get some big news tomorrow. We got some great trades setting up in front of me here tonight. We're going to cover all those here as we go deeper into this video. Boy, ranges on the S&P and the Nasdaq right now. Now, if you're a student of mine, if you watch these videos a lot, you know how much I love ranges. Ranges tell us to trade rotation. We're talking breakouts. We're talking failed breakouts and reversals. So there is no shortage of both long and short side trades I'm tracking for tomorrow. And with some big news coming tomorrow morning, we definitely want to have a game plan. So if you're a NASDAQ trader or an S&P trader, you're going to want to watch tonight's video. Oil is definitely a big variable for tomorrow. We've got some big news tomorrow, but there's a lot of rumors going on right now about a potential cap on Russian oil, and that is definitely something that has potential to be a very explosive known unknown on oil tomorrow. So we definitely want to talk about the up, the down, the sideways. We have some really exciting opportunities on the oil and the USO for tomorrow. So if you like trading oil, you'll definitely want to stick around and watch the entire video here tonight. Now tomorrow, Friday morning, not just any Friday, right? Tomorrow, of course, is non-farm Friday. Let's make sure we all get on the same page here before we jump into these charts here tonight. Tomorrow, of course, non-farm payrolls. Couple things you want to be aware of when it comes to non-farm Friday. First of all, it's oftentimes very quiet in the overnight session leading into this first Friday of the month, the non-farm payroll number. So I always tell my students, remember, trading is a lot like riding a bicycle. It's much easier when it's moving. So if it's slow overnight, don't force it. You know what people are waiting on. They're waiting on that number coming out at 8:30 Eastern time. Then when we get that number tomorrow, markets oftentimes go really kind of wild for about 10 or 15 minutes after that number comes out, especially since we know the Fed is really watching the jobs market, the employment numbers very closely right now. So we really got to be careful. If it's slow overnight, don't force it. And then tomorrow morning, get to your desk early. We're going to update our charts tomorrow morning in the trade room and be ready for that whippiness that comes in around 8:30. Usually by about 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9:15, we've got some updated levels and we're ready to start looking for trades. But definitely be aware, though, around that number tomorrow morning. We also, of course, have, like I mentioned earlier, we've also got this kind of rumor going around that they're negotiating right now in the EU. We heard a headline only a few minutes ago of a $60 price cap on Russian oil. Now, it's very difficult to speculate how the market will react to this. But if we do see more of this overnight, this is a very explosive variable, a known unknown about the oil price. Now, off the cuff, off the top of my head, I would imagine that anytime you put a price cap on something, it creates scarcity. Anytime you create scarcity, you know what happens, right? Prices go higher. So we're a little bit more bearish than bullish right now in the short term on the oil, but that could change in a heartbeat. And so I definitely want to be keeping that on my radar. There's definitely a variable we are watching for tomorrow. The last thing you want to keep in mind, we know the markets are really obsessed right now with Fed speak. And so we may have, we talked about this last night, how, we heard from Jerome Powell yesterday. Most of the Fed speakers today, Logan, Bowman, Kashkari, they pretty much all kind of walked the walk, right? They kind of towed the line. And so markets held up pretty well. But will we start hearing more contradictions, more clarity tomorrow? That's definitely something I'm keeping track of right now. It doesn't look like that Fed speak is as important, though, as the jobs number tomorrow morning and that real big question mark. Will we get something on paper tomorrow regarding some price cap in oil? So that is on our radar for tomorrow. Remember, be careful overnight and don't be jumping in too early after that news comes out. And of course, we're going to put together a game plan to make sure you've got some good strategies ready to go to make some money on this stuff, no matter what happens with that non-farm payroll number tomorrow morning. All right, back to our charts though. I'm going to cover all my favorite trades on each of these markets here tonight. If you're serious about making money right now, make sure you watch all the way to the end because you will learn different trade ideas, different strategy tactics, and I do try to save the best stuff all the way to the end, so make sure you stick around all the way to the finish. Let's go S&P, we'll go Nasdaq, we'll go crude oil, and we're going to have a great video newsletter here for you guys tonight, give you guys a good roadmap to make some money for tomorrow. Now, real quickly here, upper left-hand corner, all of these are tick charts. You can find all the time frames in the upper left-hand corner. And also be aware, too, oftentimes the S&P and the NASDAQ are very, very similar. And so what I talk about on the S&P can be applied to the NASDAQ and vice versa. So I'll try not to repeat myself too badly as we go back and forth. There are some small differences you'll see, but for the most part, the strategy is very, very similar here tonight. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in. There are three key insights right now on the S&P that are kind of tipping us off to where the best money-making opportunities are going to be for tomorrow. The first one is that big move up from yesterday. Now, why is that a part of this? Well, because as we talked about 24 hours ago, we were expecting that deep pullback, right? We're expecting after that big move up, getting that deep pullback and the retest of that high. And you can see right in front of you, right? The buyers, for whatever reason, they got their failure off that low, but they're struggling to retest that high. In my eyes, this really sets up for a double top reversal off the high. It also really sets up for a failed retest and potentially a breakout going lower. Looking at the chart right now, unless we can see a real strong blast going higher here, it looks like there are some great reversal trades here, both on the Emini S&P and the NASDAQ for tomorrow. The next clue is a strong move lower. We always talk about, right? Anytime we see a strong move in one direction, what do we expect? We expect a retest of that level, and then potentially from there, a breakout going lower, or a double bottom reversal, which is a very likely scenario off of that low. So we're definitely watching for some bullish reversals off of that low. And then you've got the third one, the range with rotation off the high. And you'll kind of notice what's happening here. There's two ranges on the chart. The most recent range is right there. It's pretty much a bear market into a trading range, and we've gone up, and now we're trying to rotate back down here. Now, what that means to us is that this is going to be a lot of momentum for the bears. Combine that in with that failed retest of that high, and you can see why I said earlier, right? There's a lot of potential for that reversal in that breakout going lower here. So these are some very important clues. Really, at this point right now, as I mentioned before, sellers would love to get some shorts up off the high, some reversals off that high. Buyers, buyers are definitely not out of the game just yet. That's for sure. It's still very much an overall bull market right now. So we definitely have potential for a breakout going higher. We got some key levels up overhead at 41, 43, 41, 75. As we go lower, we can definitely buy off that low, but we have to be careful buying off that low because the failed rotation or failed retest and the rotation off the high. I really like some breakouts going lower. I really like those reversals going lower. I've got some key targets down below there. Look at that 4,000 big round number. Seems to be a very, very reasonable objective if these bears can get their hands and the hooks in this thing going lower here. So I'm going to cover the upside, the downside. We're going to cover all the details here tonight. Now, what I'd love to get, right, if I had it my way tomorrow, right, if they're listening, if the trading gods are listening here right now, I would love to get some reversals off of this high. So a couple reversals I'd love to get off the high. One would be a crown reversal, right? Crown reversals are pretty simple. The key though is as we go higher, we have to remember the overall market is pretty bullish here still. So if we do go up and take out this high, I have to kind of trap in some of these, right? Some of these buyers here, if you will, right? I don't have a lot of momentum to be a seller off the high. And so if momentum isn't helping me, I need some sort of catalyst to sell back down again. I love how we have some resistance up overhead. Again, this will be that retest we talked about in last night's video. So if I can get these buyers coming in, let them try once, let them try twice. I'd love to grab a crown reversal off of that high. Now, crown reversals are nothing more than a two-try failure with a trap entry. Now, I know failure and traps, right? These are the same entry patterns you guys are learning right now in my free trading course. I like that crown reversal right off the high. We go up, buyers once, buyers twice, we trap high, right? And we shoot back down. Keep an eye on that pattern off that high. Another one I like off the high is a double top reversal. In other words, we see a strong move up. The buyers come in, they pull back off the 21 moving average. They retest the high, right? They don't try twice and fail. They retest the high. And then we start looking for the buyers coming in. Let them try twice. Once, twice, and then think about where all their stops are, right? And once I get that nice strong signal, I can short that thing back down into that range because, of course, ranges act like magnets. Now, one of my favorite follow-up trades on this is after we get that stop run going lower, I love to go out and find a new channel. One of my favorite kind of combinations on this. So we'll short the high with that two-try failure, kind of that double top reversal I mentioned. Then I can go out, I can find a trend line off that low, I can mark it up off that high, right? See, I'm going with this. Now, look left, find some prior swings, and this is one of my favorite follow-up setups to short the top of that channel. Now, I'm not going to go into all the entry patterns here right now, right? You guys are learning about these in the free trading course, but think about like a bull trap, right? A bull trap above that prior high, a buyer failure off the 21 moving average, right? Pullback combinations. Again, the same stuff you guys are learning in that free trading class, which reminds me, I know that most of you guys watching tonight have taken the free class. You've learned all these setups. You're using them to make money right now on your own account. Love seeing all the feedback, all the testimonials coming in right now. So good stuff on that. But listen, if you're here for the first time, if you haven't learned all these entry tactics, the failures, the traps, the pullback combos, what I'll do is I'll put a link up here for you in the upper right-hand corner. Grab that link. Take that free trading course because the strategy that I teach in that free class will show you a simple trick to know where the best trades will be each day. And I'll teach you 4 entry patterns, entry setups to help you start making money on your own account. If you're missing the best trades right now, if you're tired of taking so many losses, take that free class. It's perfect for someone trying to make the jump into full-time trading. That way, the next time, of course, we go up, you'll know what a 2-try with a trap looks like. You'll know what a double top 1-2 failure looks like. Now, there's one more reversal pattern, which is very, very common these days, and that is the V-top, right? The V-top or the V-bottom. In this case, as we go back higher, we may not get a 1-2 back down. We may not get a double top up here and a short back down, right? It may simply pop up and slice right back down and start moving our way into that trading range. What do we do in that situation? It's very difficult to pick the top, right? Especially since we're so bullish overall right now. The key to this is don't pick the top. If we don't get that reversal pattern off the high, simply mark that trend line off that low, bring it up around that high, and you can see this, right? This is a pretty easy idea, right? Now, the real secret to these is to go looking left, find those swings, and try to get in above one of those prior swings. Swing highs are where bull traps live. Above the moving average is where a buyer failure lives, and we can then grab that pullback combo as we go lower. Trap, failure, pullback combo. Now remember, when we get that failure or that reversal off the high, where's the market want to go? it's going to want to go all the way back to the other side of that range. And remember, when things go up and come down like this, boy, this could be a huge rip back down for the bears. It's not impossible to think here, if we can get that reversal off the high, this thing could crush it back to those lows, and that could be so much momentum going lower. There's no way to stop that freight train. And we'll talk about some breakout patterns going lower here in a moment. Now, the most important thing now is how do we trade a breakout, right? Because obviously, again, big move up yesterday, big jobs number tomorrow. We know this potential, this market may just rip, right? And just keep on running higher. I've got some levels up overhead here. You can see 41, 43. 41.75 are some next big tops up overhead here. There are, for the most part, there are two basic types of breakout patterns in a situation like this. And the big variable, of course, the big hurdle is that high. You know, that's the big problem. The problem is a strong move higher is not enough. It's not enough to call that a breakout because we have that major resistance level up overhead. But if I can get this thing to pop up, take out some of those highs, if I can get the buyers to come in and actually hold that pullback, now they didn't do it here, right? Remember, it's not enough to see a strong breakout higher. They have to hold that pullback and really blast, as we say. Now, we call these are simple, right? These are called 1, 2, 3 breakouts. In this case, 1, 2, 3 breakout for the bulls. We'll talk more about 1, 2, 3 breakouts later on in this video on the oil, because it's a really big clue we're seeing right now on oil. If I can get that 1, 2, and then 3, that jump going higher, bingo. Now we know we have a strong move up. Anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we look for a pullback and a retest of that high. Now it's about finding the entry. We mark off that high, we mark off that low, right? We drill down, right? I'm not trading a 10,000 tick chart on this tomorrow morning. We drill down, we find those prior swings. Remember, swings are where traps live. Get below the moving average. That's where bears may come in and try to short. We can then look for failures there into pullback combos and go. Now, a good rule of thumb on this is the first leg is equal to that third leg. Okay, we talk about this quite a bit in our free trading course, but the first leg is always the measuring leg. Okay, so however big that first leg is, once we get that pullback off that channel low, I know the size of that leg, and now I can project that up, right? And that will give me an idea of some really kind of fine tuning of some exit targets, right? So be aware of that. That's one breakout pattern going higher. Now please be careful, right? We could easily pop up, pull back, try a couple times, and whoop, right back down in, right? So remember, it's not enough to see a strong breakout higher, right? They have to hold it. If they can't, we're going to end up back in that range. Here's another one. Let's say now we pop up and it grinds. So now we don't get the pullback and the jump, right? Now it simply comes in and begins to grind and grind. This will probably happen in the wake or on the back of news, right? There'll be some news that comes out, you get that initial spike up and it will keep on grinding, right, as it goes. These are very, very easy giveaways. That grind is a very strong momentum clue. I'm going to mark off a trend line off that high. Same thing, right? Mark that channel. Notice how I draw these channels backwards, right? I draw them with resistance first and then find support off of those big lows. What that does is mark off those prior swings. What that does is it allows us to get that nice deep pullback. Rather than trying to draw that tight channel like that, I can find a nice deep pullback. That nice deep pullback now, remember, anytime we have that strong move, what do they want? They want to retest that high. So we trap in the bears below the 21 moving average, use their stops as fuel, and we run back up to retest the high. Now, what do you think? Is it possible we get a strong breakout, we get a nice easy pullback, right? Trap, failure, pullback, combo off that low, and then once we go back and retest the high, what do you think? Is it possible now we might get one of those double top reversals back down? You betcha. Absolutely. That's definitely something we're watching for as we go. So would love the idea of a breakout right now, but the buyers, they have to show us, right? They have to really show us some proof on this. So I think at this point now, we've got a pretty good idea of how we want to buy this going higher. Again, the big problem is it's not enough to get a strong move higher, right? I have to get it strong and hold and go in order for us to trust this move going higher. Now, the $1,000 question, maybe the $10,000 question, depending on your size of your trades tomorrow. The $1,000 question though is as we go lower, how do I buy off that low? And what would it look like here for a breakout going lower? Because in all reality, if these buyers, right, if they can't keep this going, right, that's going to be a big failure here for those bulls here. And the big news coming tomorrow, we definitely have to keep that on our radar. How about some NASDAQ right now? How about some NASDAQ here? So again, NASDAQ and the S&P are pretty similar, right? They're almost identical. You can see right away there's a little bit of a difference here on this NASDAQ. There are three key differences, right? One, of course, same thing here, that big move from yesterday. Now again, this isn't normally something we'll track, but again, we had that huge move up from yesterday, and they gave us a little shallow pullback early, but we were waiting for that deep pullback, right? Trapping the bears and back up. This really should have gone back to retest the high. Right? And just like on the S&P, I like the idea of that reversal off the high. I like the idea of that head fake, that fake out, breakout, back off the high. And I also have no problem with a breakout, but they have to show it, right? They got to get up, hold, and blast going higher. So, the buyers definitely have potential for a breakout going higher, but they have to show us, right? And of course, if they can, look at all this wide open space. And there's this wide open space there on the NASDAQ. So plenty of blue skies overhead if they can get this thing to pop, hold, and go with those breakouts I mentioned earlier. We also a strong move lower here, right? Strong move down. Why is that important? Well, because in the short term now, it tells me to expect this market to want to go lower, right? It also tells me there's a lot of great potential reversals, right, off of that low as well. Right? That's the same thing on the S&P. And then you'll notice here right now, a little bit of a different flavor of this trading range on the NASDAQ. You'll notice the S&P had two ranges. The NASDAQ pretty much had one range for the entire session today. Today was a very good example of how well pendulum swings work. You'll notice that trading range, of course, was is a balanced kind of middle of this chart right now. It's amazing how the market will go up, right? Almost identical move back down, and sure enough, buyers are waiting right there, right, to gobble it up. We talked about this stuff briefly last night on the video. It's always tough to kind of anticipate every possible scenario, but hopefully you didn't get fooled by that move lower, right? Kind of knowing that there was potential for those buyers to come in because of that big move up that we saw yesterday. So the key component here is this range rotation off the low. So right now, bull market, right? We went up, we go lower, and now, remember, when we are coming off of this low right now, we're rotating range markets, right? Range markets, they're going to rotate, right? They're going to rotate down, rotate up, rotate down. They should be wanting to rotate higher now. And again, once they rotate higher, we can look for that reversal, right? Or that breakout going higher. But just like on the S&P, right? If for some reason we don't get that rotation higher, if we don't finish off this rotation back to those highs, and we simply roll over and go lower, what does that tell us? It tells us the buyers are struggling. It tells us, well, let's put it this way, it's a very bearish clue. And so we really have to kind of think now, if we go up and then back down, which again, like I said, if there's a trading god up there looking down at me right now, that's what I want, right? That's what I hope I get tomorrow. We'll see if we get that or not. But imagine, we go higher now, we come all the way back down. Think about how strong that momentum's going to be, right? Or we go lower here, we don't get that retest, we don't get that rotation back to the high. And so it's as you can see, it's unless the buyers can really show us something here, we have to be careful, right? Being a buyer off of that low. So again, all the same stuff really on the buy side and the sell side as we go higher. As we go lower, what do you think is the best way to buy this thing as we go lower? It's kind of the same strategy to sell off the high, right? So as we go lower, we have to think it's a big time failed rotation. And so we have to expect now a lot of bears to try to come in and whack this thing and take it lower. Two ways, right? Two ways I can be a buyer on this. One is that crown reversal, right? 1, 2. Now, remember, when we see a strong move down like this, they're going to want to retest that low. right? So before that retest, this is where a crown reversal comes in. And the reason why you want a crown reversal, which again is nothing more than a 2-try failure with a trap. Now, let's remember this, guys. This buy right here is not the same buy over here. Right? The buy we saw earlier today was that, was that urgency, right? That scarcity, that, get in while you can, right? That's, you like I mentioned earlier or last night, right? That is everyone wants that buy, right? Everybody wants that dip from that big move that we saw yesterday. This over here is not the same situation, right? A lot has changed between that dip buy we saw at 10:15 today, and if it rolls over going lower, right? If it rolls over going lower, this is a different world at this point, right? So we have to be more careful for this long side trade at this point. So this is why I want that trap. I want that trap because you got to think there'll be a lot of bears going to come in here and trying to sell this thing as it goes higher. And I want to be already in the green on that trade. Move that stop the point of entry, right? Take a quick first target. I want to have the profit on that trade before we get clobbered by more bears coming in. And there's no guarantee we get hit by the bears, right? It can easily pop back up. But that's the scenario I'm trying to protect myself from by using that crown reversal. Right? So if I get that move lower, that's where you want that trap. You want to be buying as low as you can here because as it goes higher, bears will come in and whack it and running lower. Now, the good news is if they take it lower and they retest that low, well, now the bears are already in. Right? Now the bears are already committed now. And so now we can be a lot more aggressive on this entry now. 1, 2, I don't necessarily need a trap on this one, right? This entry right here can be a lot more aggressive, right? Because now the smart money bears are already in, and now we're simply trapping in the dumb money, I guess, if you will, right? For the lack of a better term, right? The weak hands, the inexperienced traders, right? They're selling right into that low right now, and we can use their stops, right? For that punch back up into that trading range, all right? So just be careful trying to buy off of this low. Crown reversal, right? Or that double bottom and then rope in the 2 tries from there. And then, of course, targets are opposite side of the range, up here, and then it. Once we get back to these highs, right? Same thing, right? Failure off the high, double top off the high, same basic idea. Or breakout, right? Could easily be a breakout as it rotates off of that low. Okay. The trade I really would love tomorrow, and again, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All I know is I want to be ready for no matter what the market throws at me. Let's say now we take this low out. We pull back to that moving average, right? And we just rip, right? And we blast going lower. What do we call these? 1, 2, 3 breakouts. 1, 2, 3 reversals. Mark that low, mark that high, find those swings, and hit it. Okay, whatever you do, don't miss that first test off the high of that channel. We talk a lot about in our free trading courses that the first test is the best test, right? Just when you go up, 1, 2, back down, right? Find that new channel and grab that first test, right? Off the high. So same basic idea there. So 1, 2, 3 breakout going lower. All of that momentum now for the bears rotating lower. Bears are going to love any pullback they get at that point, especially since you get that huge move from yesterday, just waiting to be vacuumed right back down and run back down. I get some levels below them in the Nasdaq here. Prior week close at 786, 821, 773 or so, right? Those are the key levels I'm watching for as we go. I would also be happy with a pop and grind, right? We pop down, we grind lower, very, very likely or possible for tomorrow because we have that big news coming out tomorrow morning. Pop and grinds are very common around news events. Pops down on news, grinds down in the wake of it. Mark that low, mark that high, find those prior swings. And again, I'll try not to repeat myself too badly here, right? But again, first test off the high, bull trap, buyer failure, pullback combo, strength move going lower. Right? You'll learn more of that stuff inside that free trading course. And don't forget, right? I linked up in the upper right-hand corner, right? That link for that free trading class. If for some reason you can't get that link up there, I always put all the important links in the description of the YouTube video. Now, one more thing you want to kind of keep in mind, right? If we end up ripping lower, right? If the market just simply rips lower, whenever we think about a breakout, you want to think in terms of, getting that channel. But if it really rips lower, keep an eye on those strong moves, those shallow pullbacks, those lower low in price, right? And that trap, right? As we go. Now, this is a great short trade in this situation. It's not a great breakout trade going higher. Why? Because again, all the momentum is still very bullish at that point. Does that make sense? Right? You'll notice I'm not talking about that. We call these 2-try traps or 2-try breakouts. You'll notice I don't like that setup going higher. Now, you could, right? You could go in higher on this, but it would have to be a very strong rip, right? It would be a very strong rip going higher because, again, we got all kinds of resistance up overhead. But if they can really rip this thing running higher, big news tomorrow, strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price, you definitely can get that 2-try trap up there. Just be aware, though, it has to be a very strong momentum move going higher. That's why I said earlier, it just seems more likely we're going to get that pop up, that pullback, and that jump off that moving average. So that also works as well. But in this one, if they roll over, right, that becomes a lot of momentum now for the bears. And so if they really kind of crush it going lower here, strong move, shallow pullback to that 21, that lower low in price, right? That's going to be your pattern right there. These are really, really good setups in any direction, any market as we go lower there. All right, guys, so that's some information. That's some strategy as we go lower here. And again, remember, a lot of this stuff, all this stuff for the most part, can be applied both to the S&P and the NASDAQ as well. All right, I think we're looking pretty good on that. So we wrap things up here now on the biggest kind of question mark here for tomorrow in the course, that is oil. We talked about this kind of big, potential grenade going off tomorrow in the oil markets. Now, nothing appears to be kind of written in stone just yet, but before I hit record in this video tonight, we saw some headlines coming out of the EU. Apparently there's been a G7 meeting this week about this price cap on oil. And like I said before, it's tough to really tell kind of how the market will react to a price cap. I've been doing this for almost 15 years now, and I have yet to see a price cap. I've seen I've seen oil go negative, right? I've seen oil go to $1.30. I haven't seen a price cap though yet, right? So there's a couple things I haven't seen yet. We may see that coming tomorrow. It may not be until next week as well, but that is definitely something that has to be on our radar. And we know news is very much driving this oil right now. Well, with that said, and kind of knowing that is lingering out there for tomorrow, we'll do our best to put a game plan together on this. First things first here, first clue is a strong move higher. Anytime we see a strong move higher, what do we expect? A pullback and a retest of the high. Once we get that retest of the high, what can we do? We can short that thing, right, with that 2-try failure. Or if they can break out, 1, 2, 3 breakout, pop and grind breakout, 2-try breakout, right? We definitely have potential for a breakout going higher. I would imagine if this thing breaks out going higher, 85 will be almost a guarantee. It's only $4.50 away, or $3.50 away, right? So that's pretty simple there. We really, look at this. There's a lot of space overhead there. It's tough to tell. Again, it's tough to tell how the market will react to a price cap on it. We may not get any reaction at all. It's just one big unknown here. Another thing you want to think about too is if we keep going lower. Right? As we go, for example, right? As we go higher, bears will love looking for shorts, right? Off all of these levels of resistance up overhead. As we go lower, right? We get a range with a 1, 2, 3 breakout, right? Trading range, 1, 2, 3. Now you guys know this already, right? You guys know anytime we see a strong move, they pull back and they jump off that moving average. What do we call these? 1, 2, 3. Now what do? We mark off that low. We mark off that high. And what do? We sell traps, right? We sell buyer failures, right? We short that bounce. That is a big, big clue. And you'll notice too, it almost looks like we're getting a bit of a grinder, right? Kind of pops down. See how it's grinding down like this? This grind down, it could easily keep going overnight, pop up, short back down to finish off that move back down into that battle zone low at $80 a barrel. So there's definitely a lot of shorts on my radar right now. But, like I mentioned earlier, this could easily change. This could change in a heartbeat if we see more information coming in overnight regarding this Russian oil cap. The other kind of variation of this that you want to kind of keep in mind is if we go sideways tomorrow, right? If we end up going sideways here, ranges act like magnets. So this really opens up a long side reversal, right? That's one of the scenarios that I would love to get that reversal off that low, right? Because you got that big bottom that we saw from yesterday. If they go sideways here again overnight for a while, definitely that reversal off the high, because ranges, of course, right, they act like magnets. So we want to be ready for that as well. It's going to be a little bit difficult to buy this thing if it keeps going lower. You know what I mean? If it keeps going lower, all of that bear momentum, you're definitely looking for a crown reversal, right? Or a double bottom reversal off of that low, potentially a breakout. So a lot of this stuff is going to overlap, right? What we talked about earlier on the previous charts, the S&P and the Nasdaq. As we go higher here, right? Get those buyers coming in and get that buyer failure into that pullback combination, right? Off the top of that new pop and grind channel or that new 1, 2, 3 breakout going lower, right? Those are some easy setups going lower here. Target, of course, is back at 80. If it really pops up, right? Really pops up, bull trap, right? Bull trap up above that high. Buyers come in, they try to be a buyer. Failure here, right? Off the moving average. Failure, pullback, back down to retest the low. We've talked about this a few times already. And again, you'll see lots of examples of bull traps, buyer failures, right? Pullback setups when you guys take that free trading class, right? And by the way, let me know what you think. I love getting screenshots. I love getting questions. I love seeing you guys take the free stuff off our website and start applying it on your own. So don't be a stranger when you grab that free trading class. The next variable, of course, if it really pops up, which again could easily happen. Now, let's face it, right? If we get some news coming out overnight or tomorrow morning about Russian oil caps, be careful trying to short this top, right? Because if it rips, right? If news comes out and it rips, please don't be foolish and step in front of a freight train on this. However, if we make our way up to retest that high now we look for, this, right? This crown reversal off that high, right? Double top reversal off of that high, V-top reversal, V-top going back down, right? The 3 scenarios we mentioned before. So again, a lot of the stuff, same stuff we talked about on the S&P and the Nasdaq. So keep that on your radar as we go higher there. And then kind of the big hurdle here for the buyers right now is a strong move higher is not going to be enough to give us a buy up here. It just really isn't, right? Momentum is bearish right now. So I can't really go up. I can't go up and buy that pullback, right? It's too bearish at this point, right? That strong 1, 2, 3. The bears have control of this momentum in the short term, right? I'm a short-term trader. So for me, I want short-term momentum. Now, can they pop up? Can they hold that pullback, right? And can they really blast and rip that high off the hinges up there, right? Can they really rip that thing running higher? Good. If they can, mark that high, mark that low, find those you got it, right? Find those swings, get those failures, those traps, and then don't forget, first leg, right? First leg, third leg. Again, obviously I'm kind of, drawing the chart right now, but you'll see what I mean when you go back and look at these things, right? So first leg, third leg, that'll give you a really easy way to kind of fine tune that exit as we go. Or, let's say, for example, right, headline comes out, they approve the Russian price cap or whatever they do, right? The market just simply rips, right? Or it pops and grinds, right? That is very common when you get these news events, right? Pops up. The initial news event creates the pop, right? The reaction now, everyone's buying into it. I'm going to go in, mark off that high, mark off that low. Very similar technique we used last night on the newsletter to find that channel, which, by the way, was back in the S&P, the Nasdaq, was pretty much the bottom of those pullbacks here today, right? And again, I'm not going to go over all the details right here, but trap, failure, pullback combo off the low of that channel. As always, right, when we look at breakouts, if it really rips, right, really rips, strong move. Now, again, this one doesn't seem as likely because it really has to rip. But if we do see a strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, you know what they want, right? They're going to want that trap coming in. Again, definitely possible, but doesn't seem as likely, right? It would require just one straight line up. You know what I mean? Rather than going up, pulling back, and then going, which, again, unless we see some big news tomorrow, that's probably what's more likely on that breakout going higher. If we do go lower here, right? If we grind down, nothing changes, right? Nothing changes. We're trying to go up. All of this momentum now for the bears wants to retest that low, get that pop up above prior swings where traps live, find those buyers coming in to foolishly buy that pullback. All that momentum, it wants to go back and retest that low. So sell right into those stops as we go lower here. And then, of course, a couple more things you want to think about too is if we do go sideways here right now, that's a big variable, right? If we go sideways here overnight, that new range, right, becomes a magnet. And so not a lot changes to the upside. We go higher, buyer failure, back down in. We really rip higher, right? Crown reversal back in, or double top reversal back down, right? Makes sense? So if they go right into a range overnight or tomorrow morning, that range becomes a very big magnet for us. The short side on this hasn't changed very much. It really does help the buyers though. If we can get a sideways range going here, now you can, remember, it's still going to be pretty bearish here at that point. So as it goes lower, again, because it's so bearish, but now we have that range. So now it's going to be 1, 2, use those stops and back up. Why 2 tries? Because of the overall momentum, right? Again, short-term momentum. This is not a 4-hour chart. It's a 1,500 tick chart, right? If you want to look for the bigger picture stuff, be my guest. But short-term momentum is very, very bearish at that point. I do realize that big move up, the buyers may easily come in. But trap those bears in, use their stops as fuel for that rally back up. I like that long trade a lot. So don't be afraid to hit the buy side there if you get that range coming in above us. And then again, if we end up kind of grinding down like this, think about all that momentum going lower. Try to get that crown reversal off of that low, or get that double bottom reversal off of that low, right? So again, these are the same things we talked about quite a bit here already on this video, right? But again, remember, even though we're at support down here, it's a lot of momentum there for the bears, especially if we do end up kind of running lower. You really want to get in as low as you can on that reversal, because why? Because there'll be a channel coming down overhead, and you'll see who? You'll see more bears coming in, trying to short that thing back down again. You want to already be in the money on that trade by the time those bears are coming in, right? As opposed to buying it as it's going higher. A very good rule of thumb is if you want to buy it as it's going lower on reversals. If you want to sell it as it's going higher. Buy low, sell high. I know it's not easy to do, but that's the way you want to do it. And not to worry, tomorrow morning, every morning in our trade room, I'm going to make sure you're not making that mistake, buying high or selling too low there. Anyways, so keep an eye on that. And then, hey, if we take out that low, if we can take out that low, keep on kind of grinding down, right? Take out that low, pull back to the moving average, blast and run lower. All right, we're going lower. Find that new low, mark off that new channel. Don't miss that short off the top, right? Now, again, I wouldn't be looking for that short right into that low, right? Not that one at least, right? Not something like that. I would take it for a bounce up, a failure back down. I just don't want to sell right into that low, right? So that channel off that high there. All right, so they do hold that pullback. If they can break out and go lower, now we know, find that new channel. And where's the next stop here? Yeah, big bear objective down there, 77.08 is the next bearish objective. Or do we see a pop and a grind, going lower there, right? So that's another way we can grab it there as well. All right, guys. So pretty good game plan on oil for tomorrow. Again, like some shorts off the top. But again, because of that bullishness, be careful. Look for those crown reversals. Look for those double top reversals, those V-top reversals as we go lower here. Shorten those pops as we go. The big variable right now is what happens around these lows, right? Do we see that thing grind down, pop up for a failure, right? Or do we see it struggle down here for that crown reversal off the low here? All right, guys. So be careful again, especially if we see some big news coming out regarding that price cap on the Russian oil for tomorrow. That's the big variable that we have for tomorrow. All right, guys. Game plan is all set to go here now on the oil. Hope you learned a bunch here tonight. Tomorrow, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time in our trade room. If you're looking for a great place to come out and learn and trade along, if you're not getting the results that you want out of these markets right now, what are you waiting for? You're going to love my trade room. I have the entire system ready for you. I'll put all the important links, all the membership links, all the free class links down in the description of the YouTube video. If you have any questions, if you have any trouble getting that free trading course, definitely call the office, use live chat. We're always here to help out if you got questions along the way. I don't get to those comments in the comment section as fast as I'd like to. So if you need help right away, call, email, jump on live chat. That's the easiest way to get help if you need it right away. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video tonight. Hope you use this knowledge to make some bank tomorrow. Be careful overnight with non-farm payrolls. And if I don't see you guys tomorrow morning in the morning trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time, I will see you guys back here next Monday as we kick off the countdown into the end of the year. Can't believe we're looking at Christmas and Hanukkah only a few weeks away. Anyways, get out of here, get some rest, enjoy your evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the trade room. If not, same time, same place on Monday evening. Have a great Friday. Enjoy the weekend, right? And we'll see you guys next time. As always, be well, be nice to each other, and be here Monday. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.